Welcome back. In the last session, we have seen how to define a structure. A structure is a user-defined data structure which is used for combining logically related different types of data under a single name. And we use the keyword struct to define a structure. A structure is identified by its name, which is known as the structure tag. For example, struct. Suppose we are representing a complex number. The name of the structure is complex. Then opening the curly braces. We know a complex number has two parts, real part and imaginary part. For representing that, we are using two variables, float, real, float, img, then closing the curly braces and putting the semicolon. This will create a structure named complex. This complex structure has two elements or two members named real and img. The type of this real is float. Again, the type of this img is float. Now we can create variables of this class complex. We can create a variable of complex like this, complex C. Now C is a variable of type complex. By declaring a variable or by creating a variable, the memory for this data type is allocated. It can be schematically represented as like this. C, this entire area is known as C. It has two parts. The first part is real and the second part is img. Both are float. So this uses 4 bytes. Again, this also uses 4 bytes. So the total memory requirement for this C is 8 bytes. So these are the basic concepts. Now there is some other way of declaring variable. That is, instead of declaring a variable like this, we can also write variables here. So immediately after the definition, closing the curly braces, we can write C here. This also creates a variable of type complex. Instead of explicitly specifying a variable declaration here like this, we can also create a variable immediately after the definition. This also create a variable like this that consumes 4 bytes for real and 4 bytes for imaginary. Now the next is this structure tag part or structure name part is compulsory? The answer is this part is not compulsory. We can also define a structure without this structure name. Now suppose we want to create two variables of this type. We can name like this C1, C2. This is right. This is grammatically or syntactically correct. So this will create two variables C1, C2. Both will be having two parts, imaginary and real parts. This will consume 8 bytes. This also consume 8 bytes. This is also right, but in this case we cannot explicitly declare or create variables like this because there is no tag. This is also correct. This method of defining a structure is also correct, but this has the problem that we cannot create variables explicitly like this. Now how will you access structure elements? The next is accessing structure elements or structure members. See, after creating a structure variable, we want to assign values to the structure, as well as we want to use the content of that structure for calculation. We want to print the content of that structure. So that is called the using the content of structure elements is called accessing. Accessing means either assigning data to the structure or retrieving data or displaying data in the structure or using that value for manipulation or calculation is called accessing. The question is how to access the structure elements. The answer is using the dot operator. Dot operator will represent like this, a dot. So the dot operator is used for accessing structure elements. Let us see how it works. Suppose we have a structure, struct, let it be student. It has a roll number, it has a name, then it has another part, age of student, age. This is an example structure. Named student, the structure tag is student. It has three members inside, role, name and age. Now we are creating a variable student yes. This will allocate memory for S. It has 4 bytes for roll number, 4 bytes, and it has 20 bytes for name, and it has again 4 bytes for age. Now, how we assign value to this part? How we will assign value to this name part? How we can store value to this age part? The answer is using the dot operator. Now, in order to store some value to this area, we have to write statement like this. Yes dot. The name of this subpart is, the element is roll. S dot roll equal to 10. So we are using this dot operator. This 10 will be assigned to this part. Then after executing this statement, if you are using a statement in a program like this, after executing this statement, the content of this area will be 10. Right? And suppose we are using some statement like this, get us yes dot name. In order to read a string, yes dot name, and then we are typing Raju, that Raju will be here, stored here. So the operator is dot operator. Now suppose we want to print, suppose here it is 18. We want to print that 18 out. We can write statement like this, cout yes dot age. So how we will access structure elements? The answer is we have to make use of the dot operator. So in order to access structure element, we have to make use of dot operator. See something like this, s dot roll, s dot name, s dot 8, etc. The next one is another important concept called nested structure. Nested structure. If a structure has another structure element inside it, a structure has an element which is also a structure. Such a structure is called nested structure. Simply we can say a structure inside another structure is called nested structure. Let us see an example. Suppose we are creating a structure named date. Date has, as we know, date has three parts. It has day, month and year. So we are putting those things together. Int day, char month of 3. We are using 3 letters for month. Or say 4. Then we have year. So this is the structure. Now we want to create another structure named student. Say student. It contains, say, admission number, name, date of birth of student. Another structure we are going to create, student. It has 3 parts: admission number, name and date of birth. This date of birth is of type date. Admission number is of type integer. Name is a character array. Here our focus goes to this. We want to store date of birth of the student. It is a date. We have no such a data type in C++ for storing date. So we are creating a new data type. Date we have already created here. And we are using this structure inside the student structure. So we are going to create this structure, struct student. And we are going to write the elements: integer, admission number, then char name of say 20. Now the third one is date of birth. So its data type is, we are creating here, admission number is of type integer, name is of type character array. Now the third one is date of birth. So here we have created a new data type called date. So the data type is date, which is already created. Date, and date is represented by the variable name is DOB, date of birth. So this student is a nested structure because it has a structure element, structure as its element, one of its elements. So this student is a nested structure. We have date of birth inside, that is a date data type, element of date data type, which is already a structure inside the student. So the student is a nested data structure. So a structure, if a structure comes inside another structure, it is called a nested data structure. Then now, how the memory allocation look like? So here we are creating a variable student S1. S1 will reserve memory. Memory will reserve for S1. The entire area is known as S1. It has admission number, which uses 4 bytes. Then another 20 byte for name. Then date of birth. This date of birth has DD, that is day, month, year. This is a 4 byte array. Day is of type integer. Year is also of type integer. So here for this DOB, it will use 4 plus 4 plus 4, that is 12 bytes. This will use 12 bytes. This DOB will have 3 parts. This is a 4 byte. This is another 4 byte. This is another 4 byte. This part is day. This part is month. This part is year. So this is the memory allocation for S1. Now the question is how we will access these elements. For accessing structure elements, we make use of dot operator. In order to access this area, suppose we want to assign a number to this area, we can write like this: S1 dot ADM underscore num equal to 1001. So this will get assigned to this area 1001, no problem. Now suppose we are accepting name through a getter statement, we can write like this: getters S1 dot name. That's okay, no problem. Say Alex. We are inputting such a number, such a name. Now we have this date of birth. In order to access date of birth, we have to access these different day, month and year separately. So we have to write statement like this: S1 dot, this is enter, and this entire area is known as DOB. S1 dot DOB dot day. Here S1 dot DOB dot month, S1 dot DOB dot year. So this is the way of accessing structure elements in the case of a nested structure. So nested structures become a more powerful data structures. Now there is another way of creating. Previously we have created structure. Already date structure is created. Then that structure is embedded inside the student structure. Now there is second way of creating the same structure. We can create struct student int ADM number char name of 20. Then comes our date of birth. So here we are writing this struct date. We have int day char month of 4 int year, closing the braces, and here we are writing this DOB. This type of structure definition is also possible. Here, this is the student is the outer structure. Student is the outer structure. Inside that we have another structure called date and an element of that is created. So this is also an example for nested. This way also we can create nested structure. Now, how will we initialize values to a structure? Suppose we have the structure, once again I am writing this, struct student, roll number, name of say 20, then we have date, DOB. We have created a structure element, student S1. We can assign the values to this S1 like this. Initialization of structure variable. Roll number, say 10 is the number of the student. Now name, within double quotes, we can write George, comma. Now the third one is date of birth. So you have to write another curly brace because it's a nested structure. It has three parts, separate three parts. So the date is let 13 January 2000. So in this way we can assign elements or initialize values to a structure. So this is all about structures, and thank you for watching.